Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ingrid at My Inner Palette. Today I'm gonna be talking about timelines and how we stay on a linear timeline, that is what we usually believe, or how we can jump from one timeline to another that we actually want to live. So first of all, this is a complicated type of topic, so I'm gonna try to keep it as simple as possible, and this is why I have the board with me today, so that I can explain with a more visual representation of how this look like, or at least the images that my guides have been sharing with me, so I can explain them to you. And bear with me. If you have any questions, remember that you can leave them in the description box below. And if you enjoy this video, please remember to give it a like, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends or anyone that might benefit from this information. I'm gonna leave you a beautiful gift in the description box, so make sure that you're checking it out. And now, let's start. So first of all, when we are looking and how we act, usually, we have like this little box here that you see my fellow, let's call it Daniel, I don't know. Daniel has this little box around him, and Daniel is very afraid of getting to the edge of it because this little box is called comfort zone, and it's all built up by limiting beliefs, everything that is familiar to you. It could be also the cultural norms, wherever you were born, or even the religion that you were raised in. Anything that is a belief is gonna be around you. And in this little box, Daniel cannot really grow. Daniel is always afraid because the ego is there to protect him. So whenever Daniel is saying like, oh, I would like to try something new, but I don't know, and I'm getting too close to the edge of my comfort zone, Daniel is thinking like, yeah, but my mom told me that if I do this, I could get injured, I could whatever it is, and it's unsafe. So the ego tries to keep Daniel into this box, right? And this happens to every one of us, me included, like so many times. And when we're getting into this fear of doing something, we know, and it's a signal that we're actually approaching the boundary that we have, invisible boundary that we put there, that is triggering a limiting belief. Anywho, so the ego, it's very attached to fear, because the ego within our mind is saying, don't do that, you're gonna die, right? And we're not gonna die, not nowadays. It's just like a very old mechanism that is still there, that is telling us like, hey, if you do that, there's danger, 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 right? Okay. With that said, most of us are living in these boundaries. This, my friends, doesn't allow for any growth in your life to happen. And when we're living this way, we're actually going through linear timeline like this, or this is what we're taught, right? We don't understand that there are all the timelines that we can actually jump to or towards to, and that we can change everything in our lives. So if we're going through this linear timeline, they teach you, okay, you're born, then you might, I don't know, depending on the cultural settings and all of that, you might get to go to study, then you get married, have children, then you work your ass off your whole life, you slave yourself, don't have fun or whatever it is, and then kaput, you die. You did. And that's one way of looking at it. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing this, but for some people, when they're doing this, they're actually living an unfulfilling life. If you're one of them, then this video is for you. If you're happy with this way of living and this process of life, that's completely fine. Okay, I just want to say that because it's also a choice. Some people that are really, really happy living like a super normal, simple life, and they're super happy with this process, and that's totally fine. Now, when we're living in this type of linear time, what we are taught is that everything that is to the past is past. Everything that is behind us, it's in the past. Everything that we're facing towards is the future, and whatever we have, like the day, like right here, right now, is the present moment. Okay, perfect. That means that usually everything that is in your past is associated with all the cultural norms, everything that is familiar to you, limiting beliefs, and is your comfort zone. If you keep on moving and actioning in the present moment, just the same, by all this cultural norms, familiar stuff, and limiting beliefs, then you're pretty much actioning in the past self. You're always gonna be doing exactly the same because you're carrying with you all those beliefs with you. And your future is gonna be looking pretty much as expected because nothing is changing. Everything that you're doing in the present moment, which is the power moment, the moment that we get to do things differently, to choose things differently and change our lives, happens in the present moment. It's not tomorrow, it wasn't yesterday, it's right now. Right now. Whatever you're choosing right now has the power to change your life or to keep it the same. So in this case, you're keeping it the same. So I would like to show you how does it look like when you start changing your limiting beliefs, you start working on yourself, and you start getting out of the little box called comfort zone, right? That is ruled by the ego and the fearful thoughts that you might be having all the time because your mama told you so. So if we're moving into this different aspect of timeline, I think that it looks like, I'm not really super into sports or anything like that, but I've seen like balls that they look like this, and it's like passing the ball in a game or whatever it is. So take it as it resonates. But anyways, so in this case, my friends, what I would like to show you is that you have access to different choices. Each one of these little balls here, the circles, it's a point in your lifetime that you took a decision, or a decision was presented to you that was gonna change the way that you were going. So for example, it could be something like, do I have or don't have children? You know, like if you have children, it's gonna be very different to if I don't have children, or when to have children, if that's the case. It could be, what am I gonna study? You know, you have the choice there, and it might be different choices, and you say, okay, I want to study law, and then you started going this way, this path, or I'm gonna start study biology, and then you go here, or something else. And this is just an example. It doesn't mean that you only have 3 choices, right? Just clarifying that. So in this case, I just wanted to say, okay, the different timelines, you can access to all of them in different points of your life, and you can even reverse a little bit, go back and just do some swivels around to get to where you want to go. And let's say that, well, you started here in point 0, and you were presented with a couple of choices at one moment, and you said, okay, I chose this one. Then a certain stage of your life, you were presented with other choices. It might be where to live, where to work, or whatever, like you wanted to study, anything like that that could really change your life. Okay, you decided this one. So then you keep on transiting, and then you have more choices. And you say, okay, I want to take this one here to finally get to this one here, right? And now pay attention to this, like all these little dots that I put under the arrows, they symbolize the little choices that you took every single day to get to this point. So it depends as well of the little choices, not only the fork in the road type of situation that you got there. It's like, oh crap, which one do I take? I don't know. You've been working towards these choices for a really long time. Every single day you're making a choice, and it could be something that you really wanted, or it could be something that you're reaching to, something that was like, when did my life went like so wrong? Because so many people, they ask themselves, they get to a point in life, it's like, but I was so happy in the past, and then at what point did all this life happen to me? It's not that life happened to you, but if you're thinking that life is happening to you, then you're here, you're doing this, and this is what you're thinking that you need to do. So here, like while you're transiting through the linear timeline, you're not actually seeing that you have all these other choices at different stages of your life. So if you are transiting here and now you're asking yourself like, oh, I'm unhappy, my life is unfulfilling, I don't know what I did wrong, I was doing everything that I was told that I had to do to get a life that is fulfilling, a life that I wanted. But in reality, you might have been just following through what everyone else told you that you were supposed to be doing, that you had to do, that you should do. So if you're in that process, and you might be like here, for example, you might be here and you're thinking like, oh crap, if I keep on going this way, I'm gonna reach here. This perhaps means disease. This perhaps means an accident. This perhaps means that you're kind of like digging yourself even deeper in a hole that you don't know how to get out of. So if at this point of your life you start like becoming aware, and you start expanding your consciousness to, oh wait, I have choices, I can make a different choice, and I can change my life by doing so. So in that case, you maybe want to be here, and you thought like, oh crap, but for that I needed to go from here to there to there, and then finally to reach here, but I missed all these other steps. How the hell am I gonna get there, right? So in this case, if you're here and you want to get there, you can still do it. You can still do it. It might take a little bit more choices in the way, but you can start diverting from reaching to a goal that you actually didn't want in life, or that it wasn't what you truly wanted. It was something that you were working because everyone else told you so. So in this case, you can still do it. It might take a little bit longer than doing it this way perhaps, but you can still do it. Or it might be even quicker, because for example, if it was something that you wanted to study and your family didn't have the money for you to study that, perhaps now you chose another degree, you work your ass off, you have money, and now you say like, hey, now I want to go back and study whatever I wanted to study, but there wasn't enough money. So perhaps now you can pay for it and just work your way towards where you wanted to be in the first place. This is just as an example. So it might take even less. If you don't have the money, or you decided not to study and now you want to study, perhaps you might need to save some money, see if there are like any type of benefits that you can access to, or how can you pay or ask for a loan or whatever it is to get here, okay? But you can still do it. Whenever they say, like, oh, you're too old for this, you're never too old for anything. You can always start something new at any stage of your life, because it's you the one that is deciding for your own life, no one else. If someone else tells you you should be doing this and you really don't feel that is something that you want to do, then think about it more than twice. Just meditate upon it. Okay, so with all that said, at this point, if you're transiting through the linear one and you're feeling, my life is feeling like unfulfilled, I'm not feeling happy, or I'm actually in the path of creating a disease, then I would like you to close your eyes for a second and look back into your timeline, like in this one here. Like, what are the choices that you've made in the past that brought you to this one? And picture like, okay, these are the options, the choices that I've made. Now, sit with it and think, secondly, what is it that you truly want in your life? Not because your mom said so, your dad said so, your spouse, children, whoever. Here is for you, just for you. What would you really like in life? And just think about it, visualize it, and then start thinking, what are the steps that I need to get there? Are there any other choices? Because most times we feel that we don't have choices. We feel that we're in this box and we cannot leave it and we're stuck in it. But we always have choices, and the choices can start being like little steps to get to a bigger fork in the road again. So little steps that are gonna divert you from, let's say, disease. Like if you're getting sick, what is it that you're doing in your daily life that is not allowing for health to be a thing in your auric field? So it could be that you're eating lots of shit, or like lots of processed food, lots of fats and dairies or whatever it is. So can you change that? Can you start eating one leaf, green leaf a day, one? Just a small change. It's like if you start taking 1% increments every day for yourself, you're gonna start seeing changes. So could it be that you can sit in silence for 5 minutes and start meditating for 5 minutes? Because I know that that's how I started like many years ago. I was like, I cannot sit still. Now I meditate sometimes for hours and I'm fine. But I started with 5 minutes. Then it went to 10, then 15, and you start like progressing in time into making those changes, the big changes. It's like you are preparing yourself for the big changes. So if you start like, for example, okay, what else could I do? I could go for a 10-minute walk every day, 10 minutes walking around the block or whatever it is. Or if you're unable to walk, what else can you do? What are the things that you're looking on the TV? Because that's also nourishment. Like whatever you're like, are you stuck on your phone? Are you stuck like watching movies all day? Or like all your spare time, what is it that you're doing? Is there anything that you could do differently? Could you pick up a new hobby? Could you read a book instead? Could you start looking into documentaries of things that are actually interesting to learn something new? All those things. Start thinking like, what can I do differently today? And it doesn't need to be like, I'm gonna run a marathon. It could be just, I'm gonna take the first step, and that's it. That little change is gonna be one of those dots, and then another dot and another one, until you get to, okay, now I have the means to create something different. What am I gonna choose? And well, that's what I wanted to show you today. I don't want to make this video super long, but as a recommendation, whenever you think, oh yeah, okay, I'll start on Monday, don't because that's like self-sabotage. If you're starting in the future doing something, you're never gonna change anything. The power moment, again, is in the present moment. So whatever you do today, right now, is what it counts. It's not like, oh, I want to go to the gym, but I'll go later on. in the day, and then, oh yeah, no, some stuff came up, I never got to the gym. If you have the impulse, don't get into the emotion thought process of getting caught up into, yeah, but if I go now, it looks like it's a little bit cold outside, I might catch some rain, and then you start like creating all this fantasy around you of why it's better not to go, not to take that decision, not to take that first step. And when that happens, then you're actioning in the past self. So I invite you today, with this that I was explaining to you, to stop living in the past, to allow yourself to grow, because staying here, it doesn't allow yourself to grow, and to see that you have different choices. Start asking yourself, what are the choices that I have? And you're going to see that they're going to present themselves. It's sometimes just asking yourself about these questions that you don't know how to answer. And the answer will come if you're asking the questions. So ask yourself, what is it that I truly want for my life? How can I get there? What are my choices to get there? So I'm going to leave you with that as a little homework. I would love to know what has come through for you. So please share in the comments. So if you have any questions as well, share them there. Let me know where is it that you're connecting from, because I am originally from Chile. I live in New Zealand and I have friends all over the world. So it would be very nice to see where are you connecting from? So with that said, I hope that you have a wonderful, beautiful evening, afternoon or morning, whatever you're in the world. And I'll see you next time.